You got an appointment? Appointment? Yeah, that's why you're here. Appointment? Not entirely out of the question. Convince me. Wouldn't mind a new bolt or pistol. I've fired mine so many times, the tips nearly fell off. Let's give Mr. Kincannon a ring. Mr. Kincannon, got a person of interest here to see you. Think they've got business.
That sounds like our inspector. Please, send him up.
We don't toss troublemakers out of airlocks. We just throw them over the edge.
Why, if it isn't the inspector, I was hoping you'd swing by. Here for my alibi, I assume? Another murder? Drunk raptidons? Black Hole Bertie practicing his hacking in the middle of the street? Stop me if it's one of those, or I'll just keep guessing. Sounds as though you've already sorted it out yourself. Slug uniforms do seem to go missing from the hotel laundry with impressive regularity. Easy enough for someone to nick a few. Now ask yourself this. Why would anyone give thugs slug gear and send them after you? Right again, Inspector. But I can't fathom who would benefit from tarnishing my reputation like that. Can you? You said it, not me. So, as you've deduced, I did not send anyone from Slug after you, nor is it likely they assigned themselves that task. Still, I am sorry for the trouble, Inspector. With that settled, I assume you'll want to know where I was the night of Helen's murder. Let's see. That night, I was... torturing Elliot Nasser for information on missing cargo. That was a messy one. Didn't break until nearly noon the next day. Can you imagine? His spine, specifically. If you'd like to know the exact vertebrae, I'm afraid I don't know. I can tell you he's quite dead. Not that it matters much. You'd be a fool to believe me, regardless of what I told you. People lie, and I am, incriminatingly, people. It's as I said. You shouldn't. If it helps, however, you might consider pursuing not my means, but my motive. Why in the name of the architect would I kill Halcyon Helen? She was making me a fortune. I'm considering a line of commemorative merchandise. Still, that's nothing compared to what Helen would have made us in the long run. I'd offer to assist you in your work, but I have a mystery of my own to solve, I'm afraid. Oh, Elliot stole from me, all right. Alas, you're right in that his was a singular isolated incident, and as such, does not resolve a concerning broader trend. Items are disappearing from Slug's storage and processing warehouse. The thefts began a week before Helen's unfortunate death, and there have been more instances since. Before you ask, I know the difference between cargo going missing and cargo going missing. This is the latter. I'm not sure. I'm only confident there is one. That the thefts began mere days before Helen's untimely demise is an extraordinary coincidence. I'm not a man who believes in happenstance, Inspector. I do not trust it. I certainly wouldn't take that bet. Regardless, this will be fun. You out in the field, chasing down leads, me scheming in my office, preparing to unspeakably mangle the perpetrator. Oh, I never subcontract out that type of work, Inspector. You'll want to speak with Ella Tinsley, the warehouse foreman. I've cleared her as a suspect myself, but should she refuse to cooperate, shoot her. No, I'm joking. If she won't cooperate, tell me and I will shoot her. And do feel free to search my office for clues while you're here. Don't hold back on my account. Was there something else you wanted to discuss? Constable Keene? Now that is a damn shame. Am I right to think this wasn't a workplace accident? It seems murder is becoming an unsettling trend on Eridanos as of late. Thank you for informing me of Constable Keene's passing. When you find her killer, please be certain to make them suffer. We may have been on opposite sides of the law on occasion, but we were not enemies. Perhaps it will shock you to hear her loss saddens me. Maria was a decent soul, And law knows those are in short supply around here. A little square, perhaps, in her dedication to the rules, but good nonetheless. I'm also saddened to have lost an occasional drinking buddy. She was quite good at cards, you know. No, she didn't. But let's discuss something else. Do you have other matters requiring my attention? The original incident? I made him an offer he should have refused. An excellent deduction, Inspector. Our combative relationship stems from paperwork, mundanely enough. Rizzo's contracted Sublight to construct the Eridanos Atmospheric Complex. Had Lou wanted Rizzo's to retain full control of Eridanos, he shouldn't have skimmed the revised contract I sent him. Lou's an administrator, for law's sake. I thought he would adore all the fine print I added. Frankly, I went easy on him. He has no one to blame but himself. It was all perfectly legal, too, which irked Lou to no end. My power grab, as Lou called it, planted the seed of hatred. And Lou, obsessed with what should have been, has made sure to water it daily with his bitterness and anger. Oh, I'm not an innocent party here. Please don't think I'm claiming to be. Provoking Lou may be fun, but I do have my reasons. Slug's control of Eridanos is a crucial step in my long-term plans for Sublight. The board needs to see irrefutable proof we are a respectable, legitimate business. Because one day soon, Sublight will obtain a seat on it. Meanwhile, our dear administrator is still laser-focused on old slights, which can be a nuisance. He's grown increasingly desperate to catch Slug with our hand in the proverbial cookie jar as of late, convinced we're involved in less than legal business opportunities. Perhaps. Lou's not an unclever man, Inspector. He's just not much of a reader. Very well. A few. Helen was strangely curious about the private business operations around Eridanos. She said it was role research, but how much business know-how does one actor truly need for an action picture? I also arranged to have Helen supplied with mag picks, bypass shunts, and other hacking tools. She wanted to buy in bulk. That she bought in bulk? Not particularly. It takes time to learn to use tools like that deftly. I wonder, did she run out of time in the end? That is the question, isn't it, Inspector? Tell me, do you really believe Helen's death was a mere crime of passion? Or one of petty career jealousy? A smart approach, Inspector. And yet, this murder is bigger than Miss Helen's personal life. Bigger than her latest moving picture. Her actions in the time leading up to her death do not align with those of an actor on Eridanos solely to promote Spectrum Brown. Stay sharp, Inspector. Now is not the time to lose focus. Because whoever did kill Helen is not going to come forward so easily. I just might. Your point, Inspector? Yes, I suppose you have. Be very careful, Inspector. I'd very much like to see you still around for the grand finale, whenever it comes, whatever shape it takes. One moment, if you please, Inspector. I've answered your questions. I believe it's my turn to ask you a question now. What, or who, made you decide to investigate me? Understandable. A man of my standing would naturally be tied up in all this, whether he wishes to be or not. Now then, did you need anything else?
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. A cursory fingerprint analysis shows this display case was recently opened or closed. Confirmed. The grip has been modified for a specific wielder, most likely the rifle's owner. Additionally, the plasma rifle sights appear to have been realigned to better accommodate a shooter with slight myopia in one eye. The fingerprints belong to Sedrick Kincannon.
Oh, admiring my rifle. Had it custom fitted by a woman on Monarch.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. This copy of TK contains 142 fewer pages than a standard copy. The missing pages were likely removed to create sufficient space for the hidden listening device inside.
You figured that out just by looking at it? Huh. We ought to talk shop one of these days.
Inspector, please consider speaking into the device in order to trace the transmission and reveal the receiver's location. Poor woolly cow impression transmitted. Transmission analysis complete. While the precise location of the receiver could not be pinpointed, it has been narrowed down to a smaller, approximate range. Analysis inconclusive. However, there is a minor accumulation of dust particles present on the book's uppermost surface. 98.3% of the dust particles are less than 500 micrometers in diameter. This unit is glad to have been of service, Inspector. The area within a 0.5 meter radius of the book possesses a dust coating comprised of at least twice the number of particles. That is highly likely, Inspector.
What's that you found? No, wait, don't tell me. Let's save it for the big reveal once you've solved the case.
You seen those workers by the orchards? Those smiles are gonna haunt my nightmares.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Transmission endpoint discovered. The receiver in this book matches the transmitter to the listening device found in Sedrick's office. It's somewhat grime-covered. Due to the high level of foot traffic in this area, this unit is unable to determine who placed the device. Based on the accumulated mix of sludge and detritus, the receiver has been present since approximately a week before Helen's death.
Hi there! Sorry, this area is off limits to port vision. Oh, wait half a second. You're the inspector. Sorry about that. I'll buzz you right in. Feel free to have a look around, sir.
So this is where Slug keeps all its contraband, right?
Sublight Underground takes care of its own.
Is Fight Night still on, then?
Yeah, we're on. I got 500 riding on Dr. Billy taking it all.
You bet on a sprat named Dr. Billy? What's he a doctor of?
Victory.
I'm pretty happy working for Slug. Mr. Kincannon treats us with respect.
We don't toss troublemakers out of airlocks. We just throw them over the edge.
You're being absurd. Sprats can't earn doctorates.
Tell that to the good doctor. He does what he wants.
That's multiple years of study. Do sprats even live that long?
No idea. All I know is he's going for a second doctorate in netting me an obscene amount of money.
Hello again.
Why'd Helen have to go and die in our hotel? We don't need that kind of notoriety.
Did you see the new one they shipped in this week? Now that is a sprat of unusual size. Had a crazy look in its eyes, too.
You have a crazy look in your eyes.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. The biology of this sprat is highly unusual. This sprat has been in contact with multiple parasites, yet shows no symptoms of infection. A cursory analysis of this organism's anatomy suggests it was bred deliberately for its unusually large size. Sprats possess highly adaptive immune systems capable of developing immunological memory with extraordinary speed. The unique immunological subsystem found in sprats is advantageous in fending off parasites, pathogens, and other biological threats. Based on slug records of board-issued punitive sanctions against sublight salvage and shipping, this sprat is most likely intended for cage fighting.
I guess they use this place to unwind. A cargo container, though? You'd think they'd get in trouble if they were caught.
Hey there, little buddy. Isn't she just the cutest?
Why'd Helen have to go and die in our hotel? We don't need that kind of notoriety.
I didn't even know they made Raptidon erotica. Why'd Helen have to go and die in our hotel? We don't need that kind of notoriety. Wait, maybe this N-ray warning isn't decorative.
the future of sublight. Guess you wait and see.
We don't toss troublemakers out of airlocks. We just throw them over the edge.
I'm pretty happy working for Slug. Mr. Kincannon treats me with respect.
You're the inspector, aren't you? Boss Kincannon said you'd be by about the cargo that's been going missing. Gosh, this is so neat. A real-life inspector. What's that like? Have you solved any mysteries yet? Ever had to shoot a suspect? Perps! Just like a real inspector. Right, so the missing cargo. How can I help your investigation? That's the weird part. There's no pattern, far as I can tell. The thefts don't make sense. I ask you, who would steal a handful of Spacer's Choice Sabers, so dull they can barely cut mud, but leave the spectrum black? Ugh. Who'd be desperate enough to want to steal a Spacer's Choice Saber, full stop? No one's dumb enough to think Spacer's Choice Sabers are worth half a damn. Then there's the most recent theft, 5 boxes of pens and a couple of sodas. I can't decide which one's sadder. Well, I'm no inspector. If there is one, I'm sure you'll find it. Everyone here at Freight Storage and Processing, for a start. Thing is, the cargo is going missing before the shipments even get to the warehouse. Best I can figure, it's probably getting lost in the shipping yard. As for who has access there, Benton Chan, he's the shipping yard manager, he told me it's mainly just the loading automechs that handle cargo. Could be. Those things'll break if you so much as look at them funny. That's Benton's area, but don't bother asking him for help. Last time I asked him to check the automechs, the hull head told me he couldn't help because he was dead. It won't bother him any if you have a look yourself, though. Hopefully, you're mechanically inclined. Maybe they're keen on cashing out and want to go as painfully as possible. I don't know. Boss Kincannon's office is where he holds most of his meetings with important folks like Miss Helen. Just about all negotiations happen in his office, too. Vendor pricing, major purchase orders, rentals for construction projects, you name it. Oh, before I forget, I figured you might want to access my terminal, so I had a spare keycard made. It's all yours. Oh no, I forgot to delete all of those incriminating messages I sent about which cargo to steal. Nah, I do have a list of cargo that's gone missing though, if that helps any.
You one of the new workers? A lost tourist? Wait, I don't care. Just don't knock anything over. Hey, if it meant I could ignore my work, I'd let you talk to me about sprat reproductive practices. Ask away. Figured it wouldn't last. Anything else?
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Inspector, this loading automechanical's programming does not match factory default settings. The standard defensive protocol has been modified to include an additional trigger. For Type K-19 cargo transport automechanicals, defensive protocol is triggered by attempted interference with cargo, or its transportation, or attempted destruction of the unit. Once triggered, defensive protocol targets the perpetrator and applies lethal force until the target has been deceased for a minimum of 3 minutes. There is a directive in place to initiate defensive protocol should an unsanctioned data log installed in this automechanical be removed. Slug automechanical maintenance records indicate this particular unit is frequently reported as out of position or missing for periods of time.
Loading automechanical unit K-14 is fully operational at 99% power. Please designate the cargo to be transported and its destination. How can this automechanical assist you?
You got it, Cap.
Failsafe successfully disabled. Kill mode deactivated. Ejecting data log 17C. Apologies. This unit does not have access to cargo inventory lists. Unit entering standby mode. Have a nice day.
Inspector, to what do I owe the pleasure? Ooh, I love this part. The big reveal. So tell me, what happened? What makes you say that? Damn, you're good. Hacking the Automex. So that was our skimmer's game. But why? Everything that was stolen has seemed random. I certainly see no pattern. So, our culprit had something specific they wished to acquire and used the random theft as a smokescreen. I must say, Inspector, you've done excellent work on this case. Then that just leaves how the culprit knew where their true target would be, or indeed, that Slug would soon possess it. Am I right to think what you found in my office earlier was the other half of this listening device? Not quite, Inspector. That listening device belongs to me. I lent it to Halcyon Helen to assist her with role research. Unbelievable. I helped her, gave her whatever she needed. I thought we were doing each other a good turn. This is a betrayal, Inspector. I do not take betrayal lightly. Helen should consider herself very lucky indeed that she is already among the dead, and that some other bastard beat me to putting her in the ground. Yes, I suppose we have. There is, however, a slight chronological incongruency to it. I now have a motive to kill Halcyon Helen, but Halcyon Helen is already dead. If I'd known Helen was stealing from me, I may very well have killed her, or had her killed. Alas, I did not. Oh, that is good, Inspector. Now you are thinking in the manner you must if you intend to get to the bottom of this mess. I wish you luck with your investigation, though I doubt you'll need it. You'll find Helen's murderer. I'm confident of that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must find a way to excise my anger that minimally damages my business empire. I expect it will involve shooting quite a lot of guns.
Hey, I saw your ship. The Unreliable, right? It's a real beauty. Hey there. Word around the spaceport is that you came in on the Unreliable. You a new crewmate? I see. Well, this would have been easier with Hawthorne, but I hope that if you're flying his ship, it means you're a freelancer too. Wonder if you can help me. I run an outfit for the moving of, less than legal goods. There's a particular piece of cargo needs delivering to a particular individual in the spaceport. Thing is, I don't know where the cargo is right now. The crewmate who handles that is in the clink for getting a little too disorderly in town. We've already attracted too much attention. Too risky to visit her myself. That's where you come in. You help us out, I'll give you an equal cut of our pay. Great to hear. First, you need to go meet the crewmate who got herself jailed. Cassidy Mills is the name. She'll know where the cargo is. Oh yeah, right. We have a secret phrase. I like boneless spratwurst. Say that and she'll know you're a friend. Well, I did, of course. I'm something of a savant when it comes to secret codes, if I do say so myself. Could, but there'd go our plausible deniability. Technically, I don't know about any smuggled cargo, and Cassidy hasn't moved anything herself. If the constable asks, I can't find any contraband cargo, and Cassidy doesn't know how it got here or what's in it. Be seeing ya. Remember, Cassidy's at the Constabulary. She might be a little wary, so be careful.
Don't think I know you. What do you want? Yep, that sure is the passphrase, even if it is dumb as hell. What's Dash's plan? You're looking for cargo from our ship, the Rat King. Small package, wrapped in brown paper. It got moved to the shipping yard, but I'm not completely sure where. I'm sure some sluggite knows how to find it, or has it listed in a terminal. All else fails, you could just case the joint. Might end up with some extra loot for your troubles.
Is that a new outfit? Looking sharp.
You're back, I see. Hope the law hasn't caught on to what you're doing. Law meaning authorities, that is, not the forces running the universe. No complications? Grand. The recipient is Joseph Dempsey. He runs the Eridanos Dry Goods and Sundry. This is gonna sound a little stupid, but I got a thing about mechanicals. Don't like the way they move or the sounds they make. Gives me the creeps. I was drinking with Dash in the cantina when a funny-looking one trotted up beside us. Seemed like it was some kind of monster, so I started yelling, banging on it. Don't know what happened next, but I think it involved another mechanical. I passed right out then, and when I woke back up, I was here. Not the most graceful thing I've ever done. No complications? Grand. The recipient is Joseph Dempsey. He runs the Eridanos Dry Goods and Sundry.
Got my sights on you.
Welcome back. The Eridanos Dry Goods and Sundry is just as standard and unremarkable as when you left it. A shipment, you say? The only shipment I'm expecting is 100 pounds of salt tuna a week from now. And I certainly don't expect it to be brought by an inspector. Is that supposed to be some kind of code phrase? It has no nuance, no subtlety. Sticks out like a bent nail. A constable could detect that from the other side of Eridanos. I learn about secret codes in my off time, for fun. It's never anything that I actually need to use, mind. Playing dumb didn't dissuade you, huh? You're pretty sharp and correct. Follow me to the back. All right. So, as you can see, this actually ain't the most standard and unremarkable general store this side of Halcyon. Welcome to my black market. Whatever you're here for, weapons, information, contraband, cane and ointment, I've got it. Sorry for the frosty reception. Had to make sure you weren't with the constable. But seeing how you're a freelancer, I hope I ain't got nothing to worry about. Regular wares? Sure. Currently waiting on my next black market shipment, so come back in a bit if you want to see those. Let me take that package off your hands, whatever the case. Here's your pay. Good doing business with you, especially seeing how you didn't take this to the constable. Would have been a mighty pain in my tail end. See? No. But I might tell you what's in it, so long as it's nothing proprietary, volatile, or breathing. Let's have a little look. Contraband weapon parts, a few chemicals for the crafting of high explosives. All fairly standard. Oh, and a canister of trimethyl sulfoxide. Where dimethyl sulfoxide is good at keeping folks in stasis, trimethyl sulfoxide is nice for helping refrigerators run. Useful stuff.
Hope the job's coming along well. No sign of the constable, which really makes me more nervous. Excellent. Let's divvy up the payment 3 ways and we can consider this matter settled. Thank the law. Should be just enough to get Cass out of her damn cell. I guess breaking even is better than leaving with your partner in the clink. You might not be Hawthorne, but you can sure resolve a problem like he could. Maybe better. Thanks again for all your help.
Hope you've been enjoying your stay.
Aha! Always so nice to hear you, Inspector. I'll get you to your floor on the double. Next stop, the finest seat in the house.
Inspector. Closely, I trust. Tell me what you found. That doesn't surprise me. Sedrick practically stole his way to Eridanos. He'll do everything in his power to keep you off his trail. With that in mind, do you think Sedrick was responsible for Helen's death? No motive. That's disappointing. because it's exactly the conclusion he'd want us to make. Unfortunately, even I don't have the authority to detain Sedrick. His line of work is dangerous, though. There's always a chance for an accident. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I've already lost Dr. Blossom and Constable Keen, but at least Cedric's alive. The universe is a just place.
Bertie Holcomb couldn't have killed Miss Helen, right? I just don't know if I can believe it. He's got a good heart. He sounded like he was real fond of Miss Helen. I just can't see him hurting her like that. Poor guy. I can't imagine what he's going through right now. Oh boy, I used to get that question back in the Vale. I'll tell you what I told everybody else. Black Hole Bertie Holcomb and I are not related. Probably.
Maximilian. Vicar. Vicky.
Yes.
Aw, this is no fun anymore.
Bertie doesn't seem like he has the, how do I put this, intelligence to hide a bottle of zero-G, much less a murder.
So it ain't the boyfriend after all. Color me shocked.
Black Hole Bertie, murderer of Halcyon Helen? That sounds even crazier out loud than it does in my head. This don't look good for Bertie. He's got a temper. He tore up a picnic, and he got so drunk on the night of the murder that he ain't even sure what he did. And after Helen died, he went into hiding? I hate to say this about the hack attack, but I think he might be the killer.
Battery levels are fully charged.
There's something real shifty about Sedrick. I don't know what he's up to, but I wouldn't want to be on the wrong end of it.
Sedrick Kincannon, murderer of Halcyon Helen. Yeah, I could see it. I could see him carving those words into a plaque. He was torturing a guy at the time of Helen's death? That's his alibi? Come on, boss. It's like he wants you to find him guilty.
Bertie seems like an earnest fellow, if none too bright. I dare say I hope he doesn't turn out to be the culprit behind Ruth's murder. Sedrick is quite the circumspect individual. Unfortunately for him, he's not as smart as he believes himself to be, and that may very well lead to his downfall. Spencer is quite the unfortunate individual, isn't he? Perfect example of where an overinflated need for importance leads. Whether he murdered Ruth or not, Bertie's primal-like ungainliness has nearly killed my enjoyment of Tossball. There should be a certain elegance to a well-placed elbow to the face. Spencer's quite the pathetic individual, isn't he? Overacts more in real life than his serials, which is quite the accomplishment. Is Inspector a higher rank than Captain? Just wondering whether congratulations are in order, Captain. Inspector? Is Inspector a higher rank than Captain?
I'm glad Cedric's name is clear. Well, for this crime, anyhow. I've always liked Sublight. At least they're honest about their dishonesty. I don't understand the obsession folks have with celebrities. People talked a lot about Spencer. A lot. Even on Monarch. Then we meet the guy and he's just a guy. Nothing special. You ask me, folks ought to focus more on being the best version of themselves, not the best version of some fantasy figure. Sure thing, Inspector.
Don't underestimate Spencer Woolrich. He might look like a crusty old bag of bones, but he's got ice in his veins. Just about every time he was in one of Helen's serials, Woolrich played a vicious, savage murderer. If you ask me, he's a natural killer. When I was living in the back base, we used to get into these arguments. Who was the faster shot? Halcyon Helen or the masked Marketeer? I was always in the Marketeer's camp. But I just didn't want to admit I was a fan of Helen's. Some people say Terror on Monarch is just board propaganda designed to poison our consciousness. Those people are wrong. Terror on Monarch is the highest quality entertainment this colony's ever made. Inspector makes you sound like a buttoned-up bureaucrat. If it's all the same to you, I think I'll stick to boss.
I don't know if Spencer has a backbone to kill Helen, but I'd love to slap him around anyway. Just for fun. Guess I ought to call you Inspector while we're on Eridanos.
Remember, items in the hold may shift during takeoffs and landings.
I don't know if I trust Mr. Kincannon. And I get the sense he'd be real disappointed in us if we did trust him. What's on your mind?
You might want to consider changing your clothes more often.